the cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just, like that Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, totally. A complete mystery playing out on live television.
Welcome to Starscope Report. We are diving into the massive headline you've probably seen everywhere. Whoopi Goldberg finally explains her unexpected absence.
Right, because if you're joining us for the first time, this is where we uncover all the Hollywood drama, the music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
Exactly. From red carpet surprises to major social media controversies, we really just dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And honestly, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got some incredibly crazy stories ahead today.
We really do. So today's deep dive is pulling from a massive stack of entertainment news. We are looking at reports from Yardbarker, Cinema Blend, Parade, Star, OK Magazine, and Blast the Radio.
It is a lot to get through, but the details are just fascinating.
Yeah, and our mission today is to unpack these wild, totally unexpected events that led to a nearly empty host table on the post-July 4th broadcast of The View. We're looking at July 6, 2026.
Right, and trying to figure out how one geological event in Europe rippled all the way through American daytime television.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you sit down with your morning coffee, right? You turn on this highly orchestrated, multi-million-dollar live broadcast.
You expect the usual polished routine.
Exactly, the familiar faces. But the cameras roll, and half the cast is just missing. Gone.
It was a cascading domino effect of pure chaos playing out in real time.
So let's set the scene for you. Viewers tune in expecting the usual Monday panel, but instead of the full desk, there are only 3 people sitting there.
Just 3. From the regular Monday crew, you only have Alyssa Farrah-Griffin and Sunny Hostin.
Right. And sitting right alongside them is Joy Behar, which, if you know the show, a Monday broadcast with Joy sitting at that table is an immediate red flag that things have gone wrong.
Oh, absolutely. She normally has Mondays off. And she wasted no time letting the audience in on the panic.
Yeah, what did she say? She said executive producer Brian Tedder was literally begging her.
She said he was on his knees begging her to come in and moderate.
Which is wild. When the person running a live broadcast is begging a host to give up her contracted day off, the contingency plans haven't just failed, they've evaporated.
Right, completely gone.
So Joy explains to the audience that they are down 3 co-hosts, and the most spectacular absence belonged to their lead moderator, Whoopi Goldberg.
Which is where we get the best quote of the morning. Joy looks at the camera and reveals Whoopi was using the old volcano excuse.
A volcano excuse. I mean, it sounds like a panic lie you'd tell your boss when you oversleep.
It really does. But the sources detail exactly what was happening in Italy. Mount Etna, which is in Sicily and is Europe's largest active volcano, had actually begun erupting.
Wow.
Yeah, a yellow alert was issued. These massive ash clouds started rising from the volcano around 7:45 a.m. on Sunday, and they just intensified rapidly.
So this isn't just like a minor travel inconvenience. We're talking about a hard stop to all aviation in the region.
Exactly. All incoming and outgoing flights to the local airports, including Catania Fontanarossa, were completely suspended.
Leaving Whoopi totally stranded. But, I think people often misunderstand why volcanic ash is such a deal breaker for flights. It's not just a visibility issue, right?
Not at all. It's so much worse. Volcanic ash isn't like campfire smoke. It is pulverized rock, minerals, and glass.
Right.
So when a jet engine sucks that material in, the internal temperature is so high that it literally melts the glass fragments.
Oh my God.
Yeah, then that molten glass flows through the engine, solidifies on the cooler turbine blades, and disrupts the airflow. It can cause the engines to stall completely mid-flight.
That is terrifying. It's an existential threat to an aircraft.
Totally. So aviation authorities have zero wiggle room. They shut the airspace down immediately.
Which leaves Whoopi in Sicily with no way to cross the Atlantic for an 11 a.m. Monday broadcast in New York.
And the show actually played a video message she filmed for the audience from her hotel balcony.
She looked remarkably zen for someone trapped by a natural disaster.
She really did. She explained the airport closures and delivered this perfect line. She said, "I know that we got all kinds of stories about our different vacations. I think my story just takes the cake. A volcano ate my homework."
I mean, you can't argue with a mountain exploding. It's the ultimate doctor's note from Mother Nature herself.
Hand that to your boss and just say, "Sorry, tectonic plates shifted."
Right. But wait, we're so used to highly controlled television productions. How often do we see a massive media machine derailed by something so wildly out of left field?
Honestly, almost never. But a volcano only explains one empty chair. It doesn't explain why Ana Navarro and Sara Haines were also missing.
Oh, that's true. So what happened there?
Well, this is where we see the transition from a single geological event to this massive breakdown of weather systems. While the volcano paralyzed airspace in Europe, the U.S. East Coast was buckling under its own atmospheric chaos.
Right, because according to the reports, Ana Navarro was trapped all the way down at Miami International Airport.
Yeah, a massive ground stop had been issued in New York City due to severe East Coast weather.
A storm over New York traps a host in Florida. That cascading effect is just fascinating. The weather wasn't even bad where she was.
No, but the system is entirely gridlocked. Air traffic control operates on a hub-and-spoke system. So when a storm parks over the tri-state area, the FAA issues ground stops at the origin airports.
So her plane in Miami isn't legally allowed to push back from the gate.
Exactly, because there's physically no slot for it to land in New York.
Yeah.
She actually posted about it on social media, writing, "Pero lo que será, whatever will be, will be."
Just totally surrendering to the travel gods.
And then there's Sara Haines. She wasn't even attempting to fly, but she was still knocked out of the lineup.
Oh, right, she was dealing with significant storm damage at her own home from a wild storm the evening before.
So you have a volcano in the Mediterranean, a macro-level airspace collapse on the East Coast, and localized flooding taking out a third host.
And that's not even the wildest part.
Oh, it really isn't.
Because Brian Tedda, the producer, is staring at a control room monitor showing 2 empty chairs and 40 minutes of dead air to fill.
Right, and he can't just invent a host out of thin air.
But he realizes he already has talent in the building. They just aren't awake yet.
Yeah, he looks at the guest list. Actress and comedian Michelle Buteau was already booked for the show, but just for a standard interview segment later on.
Because of this three-pronged weather apocalypse, producers roused her from a dead sleep at 6 a.m. and asked her to step in as a full-fledged guest host for the entire hour.
And she handled it brilliantly. On air, she was laughing about the sheer panic, calling it the best booty call I've ever got.
I love that quote. Turning a 6 a.m. panic call into live comedic gold requires an incredible amount of professional agility.
It really does.
But, does the fact that they can just plug a scheduled guest into a hosting chair and keep the ship afloat prove the resilience of the Views format? Or does it actually highlight how incredibly vulnerable live TV is to the unpredictable whims of weather?
Honestly, it exposes both simultaneously. The physical logistics of live television are astonishingly brittle.
Because it relies on human bodies being at a specific GPS coordinate at an exact second.
Exactly. A storm or an ash cloud shatters that immediately. However, the format of a panel talk show is deeply resilient. If you lose an anchor on a scripted news broadcast, it collapses.
Right.
But if you lose a host on a conversational panel, you can just sub in a witty comedian. The vulnerability is in the logistics, but the resilience is in the core concept.
The flexibility of just talking around a table totally saved the morning. But wait till you hear what came next, because to understand why Whoopi was in Sicily to begin with, we have to look at her deep ties to Italy.
Right. This shifts our focus from the immediate chaos to her broader, incredibly international lifestyle.
So prior to the eruption, Whoopi had been enjoying a luxurious vacation in Tuscany.
Yeah, she was posting on social media, praising the top-notch hotel, taking in the olive and fruit trees.
Living her absolute best life under the Tuscan sun. But the reporting notes she actually owns a home in Italy. It's a permanent fixture in her life.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't the first time her global footprint has conflicted with daytime TV.
Really?
Yeah, she had a documented track record of this. Back in February of 2026, she was snowed in by an East Coast blizzard and had to join virtually.
Oh, I remember that.
And even more interesting, in November of 2025, she missed the show to travel to Naples. And it wasn't for a vacation.
Wait, what was she doing in Naples?
She went to film a multi-episode arc on a beloved Italian soap opera called Un Posto al Sole.
An ego winner leaving an American political talk show to act in a Neapolitan soap opera. You literally cannot script a better career pivot.
I know. She played an American translator moving into an apartment complex. It highlights this fascinating friction between her expansive lifestyle and her notoriously strict daytime TV schedule.
She is essentially the modern-day Carmen Sandiego of daytime television.
Yes.
1 month she's trapped by a blizzard, the next she's in an Italian soap opera, and then she's sending dispatch videos from a balcony because a literal volcano trapped her. You never know where she's going to pop up.
That tension brings us to a crucial point, though. because despite the volcanoes and the blizzards, the machine never actually stops.
It just keeps churning on. Which brings up a larger question from our sources regarding the work ethic of these hosts and the massive cultural footprint the show maintains.
Right.
I look at Joy in her 80s, or Whoopi with her decades of success, and I genuinely don't understand the ROI here. They don't need the money. Why endure the 5 a.m. wake-ups and the grueling schedule?
Well, the sources touch on this. They have no plans to retire. Joy has gone on record saying creative people rarely stop working. It's simply not in their nature.
And Whoopi joked about it candidly, saying, "I've got to keep paying those bills, baby."
Yeah, she made a joke that if you don't marry well, you have to keep working.
Which is funny because the sources point out she's had 3 marriages, maintains friendly relationships with her exes, but has no plans to marry again. She prefers her independence.
But setting the jokes aside, the financial argument doesn't hold water at their level of dominance.
Right. So why do you think they keep coming back to the table? Is the cultural platform of that show just too powerful to walk away from?
That's exactly it. What's fascinating here is that the primary currency isn't a paycheck anymore. It's real-time relevance.
That makes a lot of sense.
As the sources note, the show has remained the most-watched daytime talk show for 5 consecutive seasons. That is a gargantuan megaphone.
It's the ultimate adrenaline loop. Sitting at that table means you are driving the cultural narrative, not just reacting to it.
But that level of influence comes with a heavy cost. Every syllable is dissected and turned into headline news.
Absolutely.
And just looking at this impartially, as our sources document, the show functions as a constant lightning rod for controversy from all sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah, the reporting highlights past incidents showing just how high the stakes are. Like when Joy Behar received an angry response from the Donald Trump White House over comments she made on air.
The executive branch issuing statements about a daytime talk show panelist. That is a surreal level of cultural penetration.
But it's not just external pressure. The sources detail a major flashpoint where Whoopi sparked intense backlash, including direct pushback from her co-host, Alyssa Farah-Griffin.
Right. And again, just reporting what the sources state here impartially, this occurred when Whoopi equated the situation of Black Americans with marginalized communities living under Iran's authoritarian government.
So they aren't just reading light entertainment news, they're actively navigating cultural and geopolitical landmines live on air.
Exactly. And the institution of the show absorbs all of this. Natural disasters, grounded flights, internal debates, external political firestorms, and yet it doesn't lose its ratings crown.
It just keeps broadcasting. For commentators, having a guaranteed microphone that reaches that many people is intoxicating. Walking away from that influence is incredibly difficult, even when the trade-off is dealing with volcanic ash and intense political blowback.
Precisely. It is an anchor point in the American media landscape.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because we cover these kinds of media phenomenons all the time. But bringing this all back to you listening right now.
Yeah, what does this mean for the listener?
Well, while you might not ever get the chance to use a literal volcanic eruption as a valid excuse for missing your 9 a.m. budget meeting.
Though we can certainly dream.
Right. But this bizarre saga serves as a hilarious reminder of human adaptability. It shows how quickly we have to pivot when our carefully laid plans go up in smoke, or, in Whoopi's case, a cloud of Sicilian ash.
It is a master class in rolling with the punches. But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
Consider the invisible threads that weave our modern world together. A geological event happens deep within the Earth in the Mediterranean. That heat and ash force an air traffic controller to ground a flight.
Right.
That grounded flight, combined with a thunderstorm over New York, triggers a frantic phone call in Manhattan at dawn. And that single phone call alters the dynamic of America's most watched daytime talk show just a few hours later.
It's wild to trace it back like that.
It makes you wonder, what other hidden connections between the natural world and our daily media consumption are happening right under our noses?
It really makes you look at the systems running quietly in the background of your morning routine in a whole new light.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. Catch you next time.